I wasn't yours. I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back to who I was before. I like me better, I like me better.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So you guys seem to like the last video that I did like this, where I told you about 2 products that people talk about, but if you could only afford one, which one would I recommend you get? So I'm gonna do the same thing, but this time around we're gonna do like a dupes version, where like one is literally intended to be like the other, which means they're usually around different price ranges. So should you splurge and get the original or get the more expensive one, or will you be just fine getting the dupe more affordable one? So if you guys want to know, let's go. Okay, so I'm just going through things that people say are dupes, and you know, that threw me off. And whether or not one I think they're actually dupes, and if they are, which one you should get instead. So the first one is the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder and the Maybelline Fit Me Powder. I do feel like back in the day, I was like, yeah, this is pretty, like they're 2 dupes of each other. They do pretty much the same thing, you know, lock your makeup into place. Both powders that you would use for, you know, baking on your under eye, setting your under eye, that area. But, you know, like looking back at it, yeah, I would still say, you know, like if everyone's raving about Laura Mercier, would I recommend getting this one instead? I still would. But if you've actually tried the 2, baby, you know, if you got the money, if you don't have the money, go ahead and get the Fit Me instead. Y'all already know how I feel when it comes to the Laura Mercier powder. What's really doing it for them when it comes to me is the honey shade, because of the color of the honey shade. But the actual wear of the formula and stuff like that, Fit Me surpasses. I tell it like it is here on this channel. When it comes to, especially if you're also using it to like oil control and stuff like that, yeah, go ahead and get the Fit Me, because it does it just a little bit better than Laura Mercier. Now, I do still choose the honey color over the Fit Me. I don't know if Fit Me has a yellow based powder out of them. I know there's like a peachy one that's more like my skin tone, because I'm pretty sure it was made to, you know, resemble the Laura powder. So they do have some of the same shades, but since honey came out years later, I don't know if Fit Me has a more yellow based powder, but you know, for the color I'd have to go Laura, but like for the actual wear of the powder, that goes to Fit Me. Okay, the next one is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb and the Makeup Revolution Pout Bomb. Both of them glosses that I highly recommend, both of them throughout the years. Pigmented glosses, the shades are very flattering across skin tones. More of a long-lasting type of gloss, because gloss, it is very easy for it to rub off just you going about your day throughout the day. So, you know, for the most part, they have pretty much the same wear, pretty much the same consistency, the same type of formula and all of that. Obviously, the price difference there is really what sets them apart. But one of them, I own every color that they've come out with before. And if you're new here, then that is the Fenty Gloss Bomb. Baby, for me, if I can only buy one, I'm gonna buy the Fenty Gloss Bomb. I am so sorry. Yes, you can pretty much get the same outcome with the Pout Bomb. However, y'all know I do prefer the Heat Gloss Bomb. It's the plumping version, and I don't believe Makeup Revolution has a plumping version of it. So that also is why I would go ahead and pick Fenty, but there's just, you know, sometimes you just can't top the original. This is one of those times. The Tatcha Silk Canvas or the e.l.f. Putty Primer. You know, and if you were here around that time, then you know that one was saying that the other stole it from them, and then Tarte was like, wait, but you both stole it from me. It was just, you know, brands were a little spicier back then, you know. Forgot how to be a business. I really do like the Tatcha primer. I feel like, you know, silk canvas, it gives you the type of satiny prime to your face because you use it as a primer. So you really have a nice canvas to put your makeup on top of, and it just looks really flawless on the face, right? The e.l.f. Putty Primer, pretty much the same thing. It gives you that type of canvas to where the makeup that you put on top of it is really going to wear well throughout the day. It's going to look nice throughout the day. And the thing, like, I'm thinking about it now, and I think this is another one of those kind of like what I was just talking about with Laura and Maybelline Fit Me, where Laura, like, that color is what does it for me, and like it's more the wear of Maybelline Fit Me. In this case, with Tatcha, I think it's the finish of it that I prefer over e.l.f. Like, if you are looking for a primer to, you know, what you care about is how your face is going to like look after you finish doing your makeup, as opposed to how your makeup is going to wear throughout the day, I think that is why I like Silk Canvas. Whereas e.l.f., I don't think I like how makeup looks on top of it the same way that I like the Tatcha primer, but I like how makeup wears on top of it more than I do Tatcha. Tatcha is still a long wearing, like, that's the thing with these dupes, these type of things, they pretty much wear the same type of way. It's just like little personal things for me, but with the e.l.f., I think I just prefer how it wears throughout the day as opposed to how makeup looks on top of it like Tatcha. And of course there's a big price difference between the two of them. So for two products that pretty much do the same thing for you, would I, if I could only buy one, would I splurge and get the Tatcha, or would I get the e.l.f.? Save your money. You can go ahead and buy the e.l.f. And e.l.f. also has like different versions of the putty. You know, they've got like what, Silk Luminous putty, matte putty, you know, skincare putty, all the different versions. So save your money, get the e.l.f. I literally can't even see what brow pencil that is that they're comparing to the Benefit brow pencil. First of all, if the competition is brows, Benefit's got it. Actually, they've got it on Anastasia Beverly Hills. That Refy pencil that I be talking about, they don't have it over them. But for the most part, if we're talking brows for Benefit, they've got it. Especially if we're talking brows for Benefit compared to any type of drugstore brow pencil. I am so sorry. If I only have the money for one, when it comes to brow pencil, I'm spending it on the one that's a little bit more expensive. There's no drugstore brow product that I've tried like that I'm like, absolutely, I need to keep coming back to this. I've tried ColourPop, I've tried L'Oreal, I've tried them all. But there's just, I'm so sorry. That is one of those where you go ahead and splurge, spend a little bit more money, where, you know, I could pick and choose a little bit more, like I said, is comparing Benefit brow pencils to brands that are in the same price range, like Anastasia Beverly Hills, Refy, other brow pencils that I've tried. I think those three are really like the three that I stick to when it comes to brow products, but you see how they're all like the same type of price range. If you told me to choose between some of those, then we might really have, but I'm so sorry. I think in that picture, it's a L'Oreal brow pencil. I mean, if that is what you can afford and you get a drugstore brow pencil, can brow pencils fill in your brows? Of course. But I'm talking, you know, like, I mean, you're here because you wanted to hear me say it, what my opinion was. That's just my opinion. Brow pencils from the drugstore just do not do it for me. They just don't. So if you only have the money for one and people are telling you the affordable one is a dupe for the more expensive one, I'm so sorry. Save a little bit more and go ahead and get the more expensive one. They just don't do it. Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara and the L'Oreal, what is it, Lash? Y'all, these two. I don't know how many times I have to say this. When it comes to mascara, baby, buy whatever mascara you want to. Now, are there some that might make your eyes a little, you know, your lashes a little more spidery, a little more defined? A little bit, maybe. You could also just layer more products on your lashes. Not overkill. But high-end, mid-range, affordable mascara, baby, they all do the same thing. When it comes to these two, are they dupes of each other? Yes, because they literally... So in this case, if you could only afford one, should you buy the Too Faced or the L'Oreal? Baby, I promise you, your lashes gonna look the same either way. Whichever one you get. So I would go ahead and get the L'Oreal because in this house, we're a budget shopper, okay? We like the best bang for your buck, and that's the best bang for your buck. Go ahead and get the L'Oreal. Oh, now I haven't seen every concealer compared to this one. The NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer and the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer, but also the NYX Concealer. Was it HD? The NYX, yeah. Every drugstore concealer has been called a dupe of the Radiant Creamy Concealer. Maybelline especially, because the packaging looks similar. That's another reason people always compare it to NARS Radiant. Now y'all know when it comes to concealer, kind of like mascara, it doesn't really impress me much, but I do like Radiant Concealer. I think that is if your go-to type of style for makeup is very natural, you want products that are very easy to use, very user-friendly, then you'll really like Radiant Creamy. It's that type of, it's the right amount of thickness, creaminess on your under eye. If you are trying to conceal anything on your under eye, it'll do that. If you're trying to brighten, depending on the color that you're using, it'll do that. It wears nice throughout the day, stuff like that. A very good, like, everyday concealer. Same thing with Maybelline Fit Me though. It's a little more watery, at least from what I remember. But for the most part, a nice everyday concealer. It's not as thick to me, which is why if you are trying to use it like to conceal on the under eye or anything like that, I don't think it'll do the exact same, but close enough where you could say they're dupes of each other. But you heard what I just said. It's a little too thin for me for the under eye to use as concealer, because at that point I just wouldn't use concealer at that point. So if I only had enough money for one, between NARS Radiant and the Maybelline Fit Me, I would spend the extra, it's probably like twice as much, and buy NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. Oh, okay. The Tarte Shape Tape Concealer or the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. Tarte Shape Tape, I guess I could see that. Yeah, I guess I could see that comparison. They're pretty similar as far as texture goes, as far as thickness goes. They're pretty similar in that coverage is pretty similar. I could see that, but the wear is not similar between those two. Even not using the specific like hydrating camo concealer like the regular one, it's definitely more hydrating than Tarte Shape Tape. Shape Tape, one of the things I dislike about it the most is that it dries out your under eye. As far as creasing goes, I think they're, you know, depending on how you set it, I think they're pretty much the same. Like, you don't, concealer, I feel like a lot of it boils down to just how you set it, how much of it that you use, all that. So for the most part, creasing, all that's the same with the two of them, like not much. And this says e.l.f. is 6 and Tarte is 27. Get the e.l.f. Okay, there's a lot of me talking about e.l.f. in this video, but e.l.f. is a brand that is known for that. They dupe other brands' products. So the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter and the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter, I've tried them both. Both are, if you are the person who puts that type of like glowy, dewy type of product under your foundation and then puts foundation on, or if you use that product instead of foundation, just to kind of give your face some type of glow, like something, because you can wear it without, you know, foundation, anything like that, just a quick throw on and go type thing. You like this type of products. I think I prefer Charlotte under makeup, like under foundation, just the overall finish of it, because you do kind of see that glow from within with the Charlotte filter. But the e.l.f. one I would wear without makeup. So I feel like it depends on why you're buying it. Are you buying it to use as a primer, or are you buying it to use as a product that you would use on its own, like a quick like throw it on and go type thing? Now you can use the Charlotte as just a throw it on and go type thing. But I wouldn't want to. I would only use it under makeup. You can use the e.l.f. under makeup, but I prefer Charlotte. But if I only had enough money to get one, and I want the best bang for my buck, I feel like it just kind of makes sense to get the e.l.f. because you can wear it on its own, it'll look nice on your face, but you could also wear it under makeup. It won't look as good under makeup as Charlotte does, in my opinion, but you can still wear it under makeup and look nice. So because there's that like 2-in-1 for that one, I would say get the e.l.f. Okay, this says that the Fenty Pro Filter foundation is a dupe for the Maybelline Matte Fit Me foundation. A little bit of a stretch, a little bit of a stretch. Fit Me Matte, is it a matte foundation? Yes, it is. Is it the type of matte foundation that Pro Filter is? No. Pro Filter is that matte, okay? Summer's coming, I need a matte face. It's not gonna move, it's not gonna do, that's what Pro Filter is. Whereas Fit Me Matte, it gives a little bit more of a soft matte, a little bit more breathable. I think you can even see like people don't have the same level of complaint as how matte, at least that I've seen. For Fit Me, that they do Pro Filter, that's one of the main reasons why people dislike it. But if you need, you know, a more affordable option, yes, I can see that being a dupe for Pro Filter. Also, Fit Me, they keep extending the shade range on that one. So, you know, it's also a drugstore option that will give you a couple more shades to choose from. And of course, there's a price difference between the two of them. But if I only had enough money for one, whereas, you know, either I could just outright buy the more affordable one, or I need to save a little bit more instead of getting the more affordable one, or just go ahead and get the one that's more affordable. Which one of the two would I get when they're two products that pretty much do the same thing, pretty much wear the same way? If I'm looking for a matte foundation, I want to go all the way in. So I'm gonna go ahead and say I would get the Pro Filter because it's a matte foundation. Now y'all know I prefer a little bit more of a soft matte foundation, but if I need, you know, I'm going somewhere hot, I'm going somewhere I cannot take any risk of my foundation running down, or, you know, maybe I'm getting in a pool, something like that, and water is going to be splashing over my face. I need my makeup to not go anywhere. Pro Filter. I would spend the money on Pro Filter. The Anastasia Beverly Hills Dewy Setting Spray, or the e.l.f. Dewy Setting Spray. Two setting sprays that do the same thing. The Anastasia Dewy Setting Spray, I feel like that is literally the definition of dew in a bottle. Like, you spray it on you, it looks, your face will look wet after you use it, your face will look glimmery, shimmery, not like straight up glitter thrown on your face, but you know what I mean. Like, when you think of the word dew, that is exactly what the Anastasia setting spray is going to give you. Whereas the e.l.f., I feel like e.l.f. kind of gives you like hydrated dew, you know, kind of like from within dew. So for me, I feel like that one, it's like, what do you want? Do you want like a dewy setting spray that's just kind of give you like a nice glow, like a wake your face up? Or do you want, no, straight up like, oh, you look kind of wet. You know, you look kind of like a glazed donut type thing, which that might not be the best way to describe, because like when you think about it, who wants to look like a glazed donut? But you know what I mean, like when you want that type of, and sometimes you do. The Anastasia Dew Set on the body. You know, some people do want, you know, glowing skin on vacation and pictures, stuff like that, where it's straight up, you look glazed. As opposed to e.l.f., where like you just look like you put lotion on. You know, you just look like, you know, just healthy skin, bright, vibrant, that type of finish to it. Now, if I could only afford one, or if I could only get one, where they kind of do the same thing in theory, but they have different finishes. I actually really did like the Dewy Set when I was using it, even though I am someone who has oily skin, because when I used it for very specific looks where I wanted to look glazed like that, right? Like that type of dew. But obviously that's not something that I do very often. Whereas, like I said, e.l.f., it just, you know, you look very awake, very, look at me, you know, I woke up like this. So, if you could only afford one, if you could only get one, if I only had enough money to make the decision, oh, that's actually really hard. Neither one is a need. They're more wants. I actually don't know. I feel like it makes sense to just say go ahead and get e.l.f. because it's more practical. But what if I don't want to be practical? Fine, get the e.l.f. Alright y'all, so that is it for this video. I hope hearing my thoughts has helped. If any of you are thinking of checking any of those comparisons out for yourself, you want to know which one I would recommend that you get, let me know if you would want a video like this again, and any other, you know, comparisons that I didn't include and you want a quick answer, let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to thumbs up, comment, subscribe, turn notification bells down below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!